Today. I'm here, of course, with Tony, my father. He is a I Ching master. He has literally spent several decades of his life dedicated to crafting and creating some of the most incredible studies in the art science. Can we call it a science?
Whatever.
Of I Ching. And for those of you guys who don't know, I Ching is a
It's a method, yes. But you don't have to think it is systematically scientific. Okay, let me start from telling what is I Ching and what is not I Ching.
Okay, sure.
Because this book has been the dominating Chinese thinking for 3,000 years. And
but before we get started, can I just start by asking why, what, not even just what is I Ching, but just why? Because I have a lot of friends these days who are telling me about things like human design and personality and astrology. And I know that in ancient Chinese studies, this is a big part of it. So what's the benefit of learning I Ching? What can we do with it? Maybe this is my millennial perspective.
If you want to talk about Chinese culture, Chinese culture's basis is I Ching because, number one, it is the earliest book in China.
Oh.
Earliest book.
Wow, okay.
Okay. And after the Oracle born. And actually it is a book that Confucius edited. So we talk about Asian Confucianism. What is Confucianism? Number one book that Confucius used is the Book of Changes. He actually added, we call it the 10 chapters, 10 wings of the book. The basic book was the production in Zhou Dynasty. It's an article book. And the book was becoming, the edifice was in around before Confucius time, 1,000 years. Zhou Dynasty, Shang Dynasty. And then after Confucius, it became number one book. It talk about poetry, talk about a book of history, whatever.
So most people's association to I Ching is that it's a fortune-telling book, right? It's a book that lets you find out what's going to happen in your life.
And that is what is the most ridiculous, conclusion in this? Actually,
is that a ridiculous conclusion?
Basically,
so before we get there,
it is oracle.
It's a book of oracles.
Yeah, oracles. It is basically it's the fortune telling in the sense that the Zhou Dynasty people use this book to find out what happened or what was it, what before, to get the meaning of it. So in my book, I say the book is the meaning of meanings. Well, in order to know or make sense of it, you have to know the meaning. And it also the starting of the language. Chinese language actually starts from oracle born. But later on, we have a language and then the books, all kinds of books. The book we call the Book of Changes. Book of Changes. I Ching is the Book of Changes. And just in Qing Dynasty, there are about 7,000 schools. Wow. And every scholar in China, in order to pass the official examination, must know this book. And even must become an editor of the book to say something about the book.
But why is this a book? So it's like the Confucian Bible, but why is it like an oracle? How does it tell us?
Now we come down to the most important things, about how to know the phenomenon. There are many ways to take apart the phenomenon or to make sense of it. Based of time, based of space, and based of real factual things. And Chinese has, I Ching provides you the basis for the system. We have the hexagram and the 64 gua. 64 is the basic hexagrams of the book. And it provides you to make sense of it. Number one, we have time, we have space, and we have everything. We put them all together in one system. And this system can apply to architecture, food, or life. Now, every person born has a birthday. And every person born has a location and has a name. They all has to be read on the basis of what we call yin and yang, and the 5 elements, and also the what we call the astrological system is the heavenly and earthly branches. 天干地支. That every day has a name, and this name was simply everything was based on altogether 22 words. 12 for the base, for the time, 12 months, and 10 for the heavenly, or they call the heavenly stocks.
So does this mean that everybody who is born at the same, because I've always wondered this, is everyone who is born at the same time and the same place, that are going to run into the same similar types of events in their life?
Now come to I Ching.
Okay.
I Ching require you to make sense out of context, in the context. Within the context, out of the context, is HTN. You relate to everything, remotest, nearest, they all affect your life. But there's something that never change, your birth time. So there are unchanging elements, and there are numerous changing elements. Now, even the single element can affect your life. And that will make a person born the same time, exact same moment, even the cry, the same hour, the same minute, their life different. But still, there should be very many similarities, or even a frame that determine the two people. They are born the same day.
Yeah.
Okay, so in order to understand what is superstition and what is not, you have to know, number one is, there are elements that is controlled, and that is not changeable.
What are elements that are controlled that's not changeable?
Oh, the hour you're born.
Yeah.
The registrar will say you're born the same year, blah, blah. But then there may be doctors who come to pick you out of the womb. And this doctor's personality may affect you. I don't know, depends. We call the variants. There are maybe 10 most important variants, or 2 variants. Now, if in the future, if we can use the big data, we can build and find out the determining variant, uncontrolled variants, something predestined variants, then we can become more clear about the future. Otherwise, everyone becomes a fortune teller. And which is the most funny thing? Everyone, there are so many fortune tellers, and there are so many liars. Because they may not be right, they may not be wrong. But I tell you, in ancient Chinese, there is a book we call it the Iron Abacus. They can figure out even what is the birth astrological animal of your mother, your father, or your future spouse.
So this is actually somebody...
To be that exact.
So is this a person who could do this? Are you saying this?
Oh, in Hong Kong and in Taiwan.
There are people who are capable of calculating your future to the precision where they know who you're going to marry and their birthday.
I collect many of this. I don't do that myself. But you can buy, we call this abacus.
Yeah. It's like an ancient Chinese calculator.
It's actually out of mathematics. And they give mathematics a lot of flavor, color, or definitions. And you can just write, you go to line up and get your chance, and then you'll be read by this person. And this person can tell you, write a book, give you a book. Sometimes for huge money, big money. They have to spend some time to figure out, right?
Yeah. So.
And then the book will tell you, you will be marrying a person who is a chicken. And your father is a dog. And mother is a snake.
But then, where does free will come in here? So let's say that Let me
tell you the ridiculous part of it, okay?
Okay.
This is so exact and so accurate, you'll be stunned to death. But there are a lot of things they don't tell.
Okay.
They don't tell.
Deliberately? Like they know it,
No,
but
they
just
don't know.
tell. Oh,
because
they
this
can't
is out
tell.
of the book. It's mathematics, a mathematic book.
So
And
hold
this
on a second.
person just copy. There's about more than 1,000 lines. 10,000 lines.
Okay, hold on a second. So just so what you're telling me is that there are people in Hong Kong who study I Ching,
Not only Hong Kong. I think in China.
and around the world who study I Ching,
yeah.
who have this algorithmic, it sounds like,
Yeah.
an algorithm that allows them to predict to perfect accuracy or
Yeah.
near perfect accuracy of
Yeah.
the things they say, of things as precise as the kind of person you're going to marry, where they're from. So this makes me wonder, what about free will? Let's say I have a girlfriend and I go to this guy.
This subject is so interesting. Talking about free will draw me to a completely different area. Let me concentrate
Okay. We'll talk about I Ching.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me concentrate on the good part of this is our
Sure.
I Ching.
Yeah.
I Ching is about two things:
Yeah.
phenomena and the number.
Okay.
And for example, we have the I Ching charter. There are the floating chart, 河图,
Right.
落书,
Okay.
and the low,
Okay.
河图 is the chart. These two charts become the numerical base, because it has a number is assigned to a position. For example, 乾一对二离三正四，乾卦 there's a 卦 of 乾卦 which assign number. So every hexagram has a number, and there are two types, two systems of numbers. One is you might call it heavenly, another is earthly. Two charts.
So there's two charts.
These
into our
two
birth.
just provide number.
Right. It's
And
numerical.
actually numerical. So basically, I Ching is number. They can actually build a lot of number systems.
So the basis behind this.
Let me
is-
tell you, for example, okay, I'm going to talk in the future about
Okay.
number, okay? For
Okay.
example,
Yeah.
every year in the I might call it Western year, okay?
Sure.
That ending this every year that is four, number four.
Sure.
For example, what number for your year? 1994.
Sure.
1904,
1904, 1944.
1924, 1944. That has a specific number. You know why? Because the year is going by 10. Every 10 turns around system. Every 10 day. That's the beginning of the 10 heavy stock. Heavy stock 10.
Okay.
Wood, fire, 2 wood, 2 fire, 2 earth, 2 water, 2 metal. For example, yang and yin. Yang wood and yin wood. And then yang fire and yin fire. Okay, very easy.
I'm so lost right now.
I Ching
So
is the
lost
book of
right now.
easy.
It does not feel easy.
Very
at all
easy.
to me.
No, let me tell you. For example, what year this year?
This year is 2021.
21, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 will be the year of wood,
Okay.
young wood.
So
So
what I
5 will be the year of yin wood. Anyway,
this is-
every 10 days there's a change of the cycle, and every cycle consists of 10 days, and 10 days has 5 yin and 5 yang. They
Right.
they make.
this is
That's very easy.
this is yeah.
Since ancient time, every day has a name.
I feel like this is one of those times where when you say it's very easy, I go,
No.
this is
Let me
so
tell you, that's
it's so mathematically complicated.
The
Okay.
book of changes.
So
is
let's.
easy.
I think I may have failed my Chinese teacher there. Sorry, my math teacher growing up because it's not easy. But okay, so coming back to just the concepts first before we get into the actual.
This is what I'm going to explain to you the concept. Okay.
Okay.
Now imagine if you have in your hand
Okay.
number 10,
Sure.
10 number.
Where am I
And
getting
you are
this
able
number
to
10
name-
from? Hold on, where is this 10 coming from? Where do I get 10 from?
Oh, since the beginning, there is a day which begins with 10, with the word yang wood.
So what you're saying is
Yang
that,
wood we call jia,
okay.
and yin wood is yi.
So
The tree.
Okay, this is too complicated.
And yin
Dad,
wood is a
Dad, I need you to
willow.
slow down.
Okay.
This is too complicated. I have my mathematically incapable. Math was always my weakest.
You don't know 10?
subject. I don't understand where 10 is coming from. So let's start over here. So my birthday is made out of day, month, year. That's
An
three
hour.
numbers.
An
Now,
hour.
okay, so that's 4 sets of numbers.
Nice.
So using these 4 sets of numbers, as well as the geographic location on the Earth, is a 5th set of numbers.
We don't have to worry about the geographical location. Just the hour is
Just the hour.
is
Okay,
more than enough.
so using these 4 sets of numbers of my birth, you're saying is that all the various. So what are some of the things that we can calculate using this mathematical algorithm? Marriage, you mentioned. The year.
We will
which-
talk about that later. I'll tell you why. Because there are millions of books
Okay.
trying to tell about not your, even it can tell your fortune.
Yeah.
And it can tell your financial conditions
That's what I want to know.
and this and that.
I want to know that.
No, okay,
yeah.
again, there are as many fortune tellers. There are as many. Okay,
Right.
because they may not be accurate, but they can be very accurate. So I want to talk about that, about superstition. Let's come to the basic. It's more important.
Is I Ching some level of superstition?
Let me continue to explain to clarify your misunderstanding or
Please.
clarify your
Yeah, because
confusion.
that would be great. Yeah.
Number 10, right?
I do, yes. There's 10 numbers. Yeah.
Every day there is a specific element assigned to it.
Okay.
Agree?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
You only assigned 10.
Yep.
Only 10 kinds, okay?
Yep.
Yin and yang.
Yep.
Yin and yang is very important.
Yep.
Everything can be divided into yin and yang, okay?
Yes.
But I just want to tell you about the year, okay?
Okay.
Every year that has 4.
So every
Because-
year that has a 4 in
and
it.
every
in the
day-
year, so,
That's different because year is easier to step, day to comprehend.
but you're only talking about the last number, right? So 1904, 1914, 1924.
Has
What
to
about
be-
1940? Because 1940 is a whole decade
Zero.
before.
0. 40 ends with 0.
Okay, right.
Okay.
So we're talking about the last
Any
digit.
number any year that has 0 at the end of the year, 1940, 1930, 1920, okay,
Okay.
10.
Yep.
It's a difference of 10, right?
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And of course, it's different from 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right?
That's right.
All,
yeah.
all together 10. For that year, it's a medal. And it's a yang medal.
For that year.
So the year after next is the yin medal.
Okay.
Now, we talk about last year and this year, right?
Yeah.
According to the Chinese calendar, last year, what is the year?
I don't know what's
2010. 2020.
2020.
Okay,
yes,
20 is
okay.
0.
Yes.
So that's a medal.
Okay. So it's a metal year.
1
Yeah.
is medal also.
Right.
But
okay.
it's yang medal and yin medal.
Got it.
So that's easy. So next time you run into all you count before.
Okay.
1910 is
Sure.
yang.
Right,
It's a
okay.
medal. 1911 is medal.
Right.
Yang.
Yeah. Yes.
How about 1904? 04.
1904 is a
Wood.
Wood. Okay.
And
Sure.
wood is a tree.
Okay.
It's a yang tree. And the yin tree is willow. Okay?
Okay.
So we have a yang medal which is a sword.
But what does all
why
this
is it-
matter?
let me tell you why it's important.
I don't understand it.
No, why? Because that's very systematic, right? Every 10.
Yep. Absolutely.
And
yeah.
imagine if Chinese is able to tell, just to smell the flavor, the character, or even the ominous, thing about this metal, they start to feel a bit creepy. And that's why the COVID-19 came in. Because all the year that falls with 0 and 1 are metal.
So
a
you're
mechanical
saying,
year.
So you're saying to me is that the COVID-19 pandemic could have been predicted based on the year.
I
that it
predicted
happened?
it. I didn't predict the COVID, but not only me. So many people in the world who knows I Ching, even 2 years before that. Watch out! 2020 and 2001 will be the year terrible thing will happen because it happened 60 years before, 120 years before.
So, according to the I Ching, these events in human history, these major catastrophic or significant events such as the pandemic, are on a pattern that plays out mathematically.
But pattern varied. And sometimes the disease can invent itself. We never heard of a pandemic. But I tell you, in Chinese, the thing that Chinese feel most painful was the year that when China was invaded by all the Western countries.
Right.
And signed a very, very shame, disgrace.
What you're talking about is the...
120 years ago.
In 120 years ago. So,
that was a 2 medal year.
right. So, at every instance of this 2 medal year, which is based on the calculation of the year in which there's this conflict, a major catastrophic event is predicted to occur.
But I have to tell you so many varieties, so many differences, right? Number 2.
So what are the...
We have to tell, because Chinese year system is 60. Every 6th year, there is a full cycle. Why 60? Because the earthly branches, we have the astrological animals. And you are cow and you are chicken. So your astrological number, you know what?
You're talking about is a Chinese astrology, what they say is
We
the
have
year
the-
of the cow, year of the monkey,
That
year
is
of the
12.
chicken, etc. That's based on 12.
So Chinese I Ching is about 10 and 12.
Right, okay.
The book of changes
Right.
is very much using 12 and 10 system. And the
So when
combination.
you say 12 and 10 system, what does that mean, 12 and 10 system?
For example, every year that comes to a cow year or a chicken year
Yeah, it's kind of like month of the year. We have 12 years is one cycle.
may not have a very constraining, defining way. May be different upon different people. If you hate chicken, every year come to the year chicken, you get disease, and you get your feet hurt, and you get headache, and you get a divorce. And the chicken year is coming again, and you hate it, right?
Right.
So, but fortune teller will tell you, don't worry, because that year is the not the chicken, it's a fire chicken, or it's a wood chicken, and it's a earth chicken. Then it's different. This year is the year of cow. Last year is the year of mouse. These 2 years are the water elements.
Sure.
Cow drink water, and the chicken is coming out at midnight to drink water.
Right.
So these are the 2 water years. And the medal year, I told you again, medal. Last year was medal.
Yes.
This year was, you know why? Because it ends with 0. And
So-
this year end with 1.
So why is it that-
2000, 2001 are medal year. And unfortunately, these are the years of water medal. Water medal can be fire medal. These 2 years are water medal because the mouse and the cow
Okay.
are the water. Now, let me tell you, this is very important. Why?
Okay.
None.
None? Lung. The
None.
lungs. The lungs that we breathe with. Yes, okay.
Takes care of water.
Right.
And the Chinese see none as medal. We have also a way to define organs.
Right.
Everything in the world can be defined in terms of 5 elements.
The 5 elements, right?
5 elements.
So
okay?
these 5 Chinese elements, known to be metal, wood, water, fire, earth. These 5 Chinese elements, obviously they're not actually the periodic table of elements, of which we know there are several more varieties beyond these things.
Yes, for
But
example,
these are metaphoric elements.
the tea may be metal tea,
Right.
or maybe
Even though it's made out of the
Yeah,
fluid,
may-
it's not
may-
necessarily
maybe
water.
fire
It's
tea.
actually a fire.
you
and
can
like that.
define a house may be this is feng shui. A house may be fire element. It has a very strong
Sure.
color of wood
Right.
or fire. Okay?
Right.
So they come into play in making catastrophe, making happiness, creating events that will lead to good things, bad things.
So if we are to understand how these things works, so that means that, let's say, events in which there is, let's say, a metal year, a metal month, and we know from calculation that this is a year where all these numbers have a heavy focus on metal clashes, we can predict that something in this realm, this metaphorical realm of metals, such as disease, will take place.
Of course, and I tell you, how much fun it is, I tell you. A fortune teller or whoever who is interested in fortune teller,
But why?
it will be plain Lego. You know Lego?
Yeah, the
Now
toy,
we have
yeah.
10 different kinds of Lego
Sure, okay.
and different kind of colored Lego.
Right.
Now they can use the Lego, put them together
Okay,
and make very beautiful house.
sure.
This and that, right?
Yes.
That's how a fortune teller play with the Lego, time Lego.
Got it.
And then you see, when you see this person,
Yeah.
for example,
Yeah.
the other day I saw a guy, he has a cut here. And then there's a cut here. Then we will see that this person, I told him that what you have an operation sometime before, but there is also something happening in your life. How do you know that? We call that physiognomy. Face has also elements.
Right. So
And
your face
also-
has elements, your body has elements,
Yeah.
each part of your body has elements, the world has elements.
And if you make a micro...
But how would you know what is going to happen? Or do you not know?
Okay, no, I can barely, for example, I tell you, easy to tell. I will tell you about the formation of the elements, also movements. Okay, I will tell you later.
But I want to come back to this because what you said previously was quite significant. You're saying that prior to 2020, or really even the end of 2019,
I wrote many articles.
you
and,
predicted that
I won't say predicted. Everyone
or-
predicted something terrible is going to happen this
So
year.
everyone in the community, not everyone, but most people in the I Ching community had already known that
Of course.
there was a catastrophe. You say, of course, because that's your world, but I wasn't part of the I Ching world. I didn't know that this horrible world event was happening. So you're saying is that the people a part of the I Ching community had known, had essentially, perceived that this worldwide catastrophic event has come. Why then was this not more out there? Is it just that we don't believe in I Ching and that was it?
Because of knowledge explosion, people now, everyone can get access to books.
Sure.
So there are more fortune tellers, and there are more anti-fortune tellers. There are fortune teller haters. So the world is confusion. In a small circle, we talk our language. We know
Sure.
we know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Even if you shout, there's some Indian boy who is clever young, right?
Yeah.
And he tells things that people follow. Even him not get listened by important people. Anyway, that's another matter. But I tell you, very easy to tell certain things.
Okay.
And for example, you can have the fear that every year this person's life pattern, there's absolutely lack of metal, no metal at all.
Yeah.
How do I know that? Because the chart.
Sure.
I'll tell you. How do you know it? Because every year has a name, 2 words. Every month has a name, 2 words. These 2 names, right?
Yeah.
For example,
So
this year...
what you mean by the name is based on the 12
yeah,
symbols
12
and the 10
10
symbols.
10 and 12, they mix together.
So every year, just so we understand it, for those who didn't have this prior knowledge, so every single year, every single month as well, every single day as well.
The system is 60.
Right, it's a 6 because there's 60 combinations in 12 and 10.
Yeah, 60 is a very interesting combination because every 60 day there's a fresh beginning of this name.
Right. So once again, so how this kind of looks like is imagine that there's like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, and then there's 12 of those. And then there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So every year it could be A1, A2, A3, A4. That's the two name matching. That's
what it is. A11
and A11, A12, right.
And then
we go to B.
2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 11, 2, 12.
B1, B2, B3, B4, B4. Okay, so
now,
that's how. So every single year is based on the combination of those two things.
It is the responsibility of every person in China.
Yeah.
Or in Chinese culture. And I hope in the future will be the world to know the name of the day, the name of the hour, the name of the year.
Why would that help us? Why would we want to know?
Because with that name, you have the Lego. You can play out this person's fortune. And you can know. I was trying to get to that point, okay? If somebody built this 12 pattern, we call that 8 characters.
Sure.
八字.
Yes.
八字 is Chinese.
This 8 characters is
8
based
character,
on
I don't see any metal in it.
So just to clarify, what he means by 8 characters is the fact that your birthday, which is made out of
2 words.
Your birth time, your birthday, your birth month, and your birth year is 4 things. Each of these 4 things has those 2 characters, like the A1, A2, A3, A4.
You cannot change that.
This is what's called the 8 characters. In Chinese called 八字, which is a very important thing because essentially this 8 characters is your code, is your life code that defines, based on your birth time, based on your birthday, based on your birth month, based on your birth year, that defines this trajectory. So we could take a look at those 8 characters and say, okay, out of these 8 characters, there's 4 sets of combinations, we're seeing that there is a lack of certain elements. We're lacking in let's say, water in those things because those 8 characters don't have anything that's related to water, or that you have too much metal. So using this combination, predictions can be made based on general trends. Is this accurate so
You're
far?
doing better than I. You are absolutely right about this. You already...
I think this is learning osmosis. At some point I've learned some concepts of this.
Of course.
Okay.
Exactly. In the Chinese marriage tradition, 2,000 years ago already, you have to exchange the 八字.
Right. Because the masters have to calculate to see if it's a match.
Whether this marriage will match.
And it's not based on personality, it's not based on DNA, it's based on whether your life will match.
Yes. Yeah.
So what happens when your life matches? Or even worse, doesn't match?
Some people fake.
Oh no. Okay.
Most people fake.
Let's say they fake. Let's say you have 2 people. Let's say that me and my partner have unmatching. I'm going to need to ask you about my with Amy's, by the way.
You carry another very interesting, juicy topic. We cannot afford to talk.
Oh gosh, no! I want to hear about this topic, Dad. This is a very important topic.
Let's go back to this so people can understand it more. Okay.
Okay.
I didn't finish.
Okay.
Everyone has a responsibility.
Yes.
I said responsibility is very strongly quote unquote.
Yes.
Because at one time I talked to a group of American scholars and students to learn know Chinese. I say, to know Chinese culture, the most fundamental and the most important thing you have to learn how to name the day, year, how to name, we call the 60 hexagrams.
Right, okay.
Okay, 60 names, okay? 60, and how to know the 10 element and 12 earthly branches.
Right.
10
and 12, 10 symbol and 12 symbol.
These 22 words, if you don't know, you are not qualified to even begin to know Chinese culture.
Okay.
We have scholars who claim to be the interpreter of Chinese culture. And they don't know this. That's so ridiculous. You know why? Because the Chinese built everything upon these 22 words. I talk to them, and then we go to a temple. You will see the Chinese name the year. They don't name by numbers. They will name 甲子. 甲子 is the number 1.
It's A1.
A1.
Right. It's
A1 is 甲子. 甲子means the 60th cycle. Okay? And this is how the Chinese name years. And if you don't know that, how can you study Chinese history? And these scholars look at me and say, wow.
So my understanding is that architecture employs these 22 characters of 10 and 12, right? Medicine, Chinese medicine employs sciences, mathematics, language, poetry, almost everything in classical Chinese literature, culture, and really everything employs these 60 characters.
When these things are filtered into the lower level, it may not show. But the basic level,
Right.
time is the most important. Okay, architecture, of course, feng shui,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And the name, person's name,
Of course.
and even language itself.
Yeah.
Language,
Yes.
every language can be understood in
Right.
terms of this 12.
Because
2022.
it's a very common practice, if I understand it, for parents or preparing parents to go to a feng shui master or I Ching master to calculate what the best time for their child to be born in so they could have the most advantageous 8 characters.
This happening now in the modern time, which is a little bit suspicious, not very good.
Why is that?
Because people like to have male descendants, and people like to have a person who has a good fortune.
Sure.
There is a very famous Taiwan singer,
Yeah.
and he made his daughter the same day like. But they don't happen the same. But you know,
Yeah, that's a very good point. So let's say that if I was born, I want to look at my life and go, I think I'm in control of my fate. Invictus, I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. But you're saying is that if I was born in the same time, date, and having the same bosses as Elon Musk, I could be a billionaire?
Let me explain in terms of a fortune teller. Okay?
Okay. And then I have a question about my dad. Why did you guys have sex at the right time?
There is a likelihood of similarities
Yeah.
between these two ladies, Queen Elizabeth and this singer's daughter.
Okay. Because they were born at the same time, you're saying.
But, in spite of the similarities, we have to know sometimes very vital differences. And what makes them one, the Queen, Queen Elizabeth is the very interesting person. She was the potentate enjoyed longest time in English history.
Sure.
But you know what? If you copy that, it's like a cheap copy. You don't get the benefit. And some doctors that do the cesarean operation.
Right.
They say, hey, this is the day that Queen Elizabeth was born.
So some Chinese doctors will have a cesarean to have a child be born at a same time.
This is very, very popular superstition.
It's a very popular superstition. But it's a superstition, you're saying.
That's a danger because,
Why?
Because, again, the beginning I told you, there are elements that has a more important, like hereditary, or even
there are things that you can control,
or locations.
Right, there are things you can control, and there are things you can't control.
If you are born in the Buckingham Palace, then the similarity to Queen Elizabeth is closer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Much closer because you eat the same cheese, and you curse the same bread.
That's the same. Right? That's the learning today. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But there may be a very happy young girl.
Yeah.
And she lived to be very long, the same like Queen Elizabeth, with little money and power.
Sure.
But you look at that woman.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to be political or politically correct or incorrect. Okay, allow me. Okay.
I don't mind.
I want to do some interpretation to look at this person and see what kind of life is that.
And
you will see something you don't like.
You're talking about the lady who has the same birthday as.
Yeah. I mean, you don't like anyway. I don't like this. I don't like to stick to that. But there is a master in that madness.
Okay.
And this is a good master, frankly. Mm-hmm. I will not object to people trying to do that.
Right.
Because there are so many pitfalls outside. And it's better than to have a safe course. I joined this club. At least it is a healthy club.
Sure.
Because out there are numerous clubs that is very, very dangerous. So, to copy, a cheap copy is still a good copy.
Yeah. That makes sense to me, right? Yeah.
You know why? At one time, it took me 1 year to help a person decide the date. 1 year.
Wow. Okay.
Because the mother will come here, I don't like rheumatism. So this date no good. So the other day, the husband comes. Oh, No. I want my child to be very, very, very.
Wait. They've been coming back for a year.
How year we fight and they fight, they come back say, how about this days?
They were trying to time the
Not
conception.
the year is the exaggeration. Okay. It's about 10 months time.
Because the conception.
Right after conception, they came to me. And the birth, right?
Yeah. Like a year as in like a birth
And
year.
I become a conspirator, and I joined them in this ridiculous thing. But anyway, finally we settled on one day.
Yeah.
And what happened?
What happened?
The child was born, right?
Yeah.
I told them, don't believe in this, because there are all kinds of.
There's all kinds of things that can
possibilities.
happen, right? Yeah.
They can happen.
You could try to control 99% of things, and then reality was still set.
And they found that this is a girl, not a boy. Now, okay, now let me tell you the difference between boy and the girl. According to Chinese fortune telling system, yin and yang goes to different ways. One is going to clockwise,
Okay.
and another is going to anti-clockwise.
Okay.
And for a woman, for a girl, for a boy, for example, if the boy needs fire,
So this is what we're talking about is biological sex.
no, there's a pattern.
The pattern of something. So a person who is born with the biological sex of male would have a different passageway in terms of their batsi's timing compared to a girl's.
And it
Someone who's
becomes-
born as a girl. Anyway.
Becomes the girl slight pattern is go anti-clocks. Sometimes it's just the opposite.
So
the
what's
opposite
the
way.
pattern you mean?
The pattern means that when you start your birth, there is another element which is very important. In Chinese, it's called yun. Yun is that allows you to maneuverability. Every 10 years after you're born, you have a luck.
Isn't yun literally
It's
the word for luck?
Luck, yeah. The luck is provided by time. Now, if you have this pattern, but you did not see that.
So the word luck, just to go into etymology for a moment.
Yeah, it's
the word luck
every
in Chinese is called
every
xing
10
yun.
years, a person has a 10 cycle of luck.
Right. So I want to come back to that in a second. So xing yun in Chinese means luck. And the word of luck actually means mobility, which makes sense to me. That's
This pattern was based on
right.
your life pattern.
Sure.
Okay, everyone has a different, basically about 70 cycles, 70.
Everyone
years,
has different
70,
cycles.
80 years old, right?
In our lives.
Yeah, still in our life.
And every 10 years we have
Some
one
people
round.
begin when you are 33 years old, and then they end with 7 years old. And afterward, you have a 10-year cycle, 10-year cycle. Every 10 years, there's a term cycle. And this cycle goes like, like a clock. It's from north or from the south, from the beginning of your month, and then you go. And this chart shows 4 seasons. Winter, summer. If your birth is very cold, that's a water, you like to be in the south. And the charter, what we call the chariot, the car of the movement goes from north, go to south. Every 10 years there's a 10-year cycle, and then.
So is it true that some people are just born luckier than others because their luck comes around more regularly?
Absolutely. Then some people are born with the silver spoon in the mouth.
But that's
But I tell you,
because you understand, a rich person can be born with poor luck.
Yes.
It's the
Even
silver
terrible luck.
spoon is just their
Even terrible
circumstance. So a person who is born with, I'm going to make some assumptions. Let's say a person who's born with poor luck just means they're more likely to get into car accidents. They're more likely to lose people in their lives, and anything they try, even if with the most advantage in the beginning, a new business with $1 million would just crash. And then you have some other people who's just so lucky that they'll walk out and the right person will appear and the right opportunities will appear, and boom, things just magically happen for them, even if they're born in a less advantage. Is that what luck would
I can join your talk and agree with you, but I tell you, this is not a very good taste of conversation because we concentrate on too much of this thing, right? You're so practical. We don't have to be so practical, but still, I tell you, yes.
But is that what that means?
Yes.
Okay.
And this luck has nothing to do Yes, it may have come from the day of your birth,
Right.
but the pattern will draw out everyone's different chart, different luck chart, CHART, right?
Yes.
Every 10 years. But the chart is very easy, it's very mechanical. It goes around like the 4 seasons. If you're born in the winter, your luck, most likely in your midlife or after midlife or 60 years around, you will be in the summer luck time.
Summer luck is good?
Yeah, that is to say every person, possibility of 50%, has started out good luck in the mid of their life. That makes sense. When you are mature, your social more, and
Sure.
you already have some financial abilities, then your life starts to be good.
Yes.
You have everything that is lacking in your life. You start to see your friend you never saw before. You go to country you never went. And I would say that is the beginning of good luck, because I tell you, no matter what luck you are, when you come to a cycle when you start to have something you never had before, and you never had coffee in your life, and you never know what the money is, and some people will teach you how to earn money, then your life is, the possibility are all there. Unfortunately, some people never reach that stage, and then they just crack up. But some people reach the stage, but they're stupid. They squander all what they have,
Right.
because they believe their life is already good enough, right? So
Right.
they become arrogant, and they become self-limiting. So my suggestion is better taste, right? Whatever you don't believe in it, but whatever your life pattern is, when you are mature, you come to your 50s, 40s, you start to see things world differently. You have a lot of bad lessons you learned, and you have a friend you want to get rid of. And then you start to see people you never saw before. Take advantage of that. That's my advice for every person.
How does one take advantage of that?
Life is a process of education.
Sure.
No matter what kind of luck you are. People who are every day obsessed with luck, with fortune, usually have bad fortune. Because they are too much obsessed. That's the self-jacket.
Straight jacket.
Right? So you're free, and you start to educate. And education is more important. So you see different people as educator, and you see different opportunities as opportunities. And you know your life just start now.
So you could really begin your life at any stage of your life.
For most people, yes. Because if you're born in the winter, you likely know the time goes in the middle of life, you come into summer. And people in the summer, burning, likely you are 50, 60, you are in the luck cycle of the north.
Of the north?
Yeah, because it's just the opposite.
Right.
Like we have a 4 season, and you put on the clock, and you hold just the 4 seasons.
Sure.
Your life has 4 seasons too.
Sure.
So any person is born in the spring, in the midlife will be autumn. Everyone, this is applied to everyone. In spite of that, some people is unable to take advantage of luck or of that.
Sure.
Because they have a very crippled or strange formations of their body. And the problem already there. And when they get to the middle age, they are already sheltered. So instead of studying fortune or talking about fortune, is very bad taste again. Let's talk about education and talk about knowledge.
Okay.
I like to talk about knowledge.
Okay.
Okay?
Sure.
So I Ching is about knowledge.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Okay. Any questions?
I think this is an ocean of knowledge. Speaking of knowledge,
Of course.
so we've been talking for the last 50 minutes, and it's almost been an hour, and it's an ocean that we've barely started to see a crack of. And I think coming from my much more westernized perspectives, I Ching is fascinating, and it's also complex, because how do you take 5,000 years of information and simplify it down to something as simple as a 60 character formula. Especially when you take something as complex as philosophical as life, and then you spend your entire life dedicating to this.
So have you any questions about what I explained to you, right? At least you have some basic
absolutely,
understanding of that, right?
Yes.
Let me repeat, okay?
Okay.
For every person,
Yeah.
you claim that you have some knowledge of Chinese culture. Don't tell me if you don't know these 22 words.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And unfortunately, we don't have black or white board or everything that.
We have whiteboard.
No. Tell you.
Sure.
You go to Google
Yeah.
and find out what is parts and all this 22 character. That is it. Begin to have a very simple taste of Chinese culture,
Okay.
and that will lead to your whole lifetime. I tell you, it's very interesting.
Okay.
Very interesting.
So today's main message here is, you want to understand Chinese culture, any element of Chinese culture, we have to first start with these 60 characters as the foundation, this combination of the 12 and the 10.
That's 60 combinations.
60 combinations, right? It's 12 characters, the ABCDs, and then the 10 numbers.
10.
And then looking at that to understand what the combinations are.
And it's so easy, you know what?
To break down.
Any ends with 0 is a young metal. And 1 is in metal, right?
Yeah.
And 4, what is 4?
4 was not wood. Was 4 wood?
Wood,
4 was
yeah.
wood.
Yang wood. 5 is yin wood.
Is yin wood.
Right?
Yeah. There it is. Okay.
Thank you. I hope.
All right. We'll move on to the next video, and then we'll start going down into
and
how
give us
this
feedback,
becomes-
okay?
Yes,
And
please
tell
give us feedback, and make sure to subscribe to Tony's channel and like this video so that we can keep making more of it.
Well, we are just beginning to build some kind of a talk. The conversation is interesting.
This is so fascinating. Okay. Thanks for watching.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Great. Good job. That was great.
So easy, right?
Yeah, that was fun.
Okay.
Just talk like that.
You don't need editing.